We hear a lot of statistics about sexual assault and domestic violence. We hear these numbers so often that they can lose their meaning. It can be upsetting to think about people in our community being hurt, so it's sometimes easier to ignore the possibility until it becomes too late and happens to someone we know. It's important to understand that even if something traumatic does happen, there are resources here at Penn State that can help.
There's a piece of civil rights legislation called Title IX that guarantees protection from all forms of sexual or gender-based harassment or misconduct. This applies to educational programs that receive federal funding. There are a lot of ways Title IX can protect you.
Sexual assault can happen to anyone. If someone has been sexually assaulted, they did not ask for it, and it's not their fault. Any sexual contact that occurs without consent violates Penn State policy and is against the law. Consent cannot be given if someone's asleep or incapacitated due to drugs or alcohol. Penn State does not want fear of disciplinary action to be a barrier to reporting. If drugs or alcohol are involved in an assault, the university has an amnesty policy that victims typically won't face disciplinary actions in connection to the reported incident. This policy applies to any incident related to Title IX. The trauma of sexual assault can be long-lasting. If you or someone you know has been assaulted, there are resources available to help.
When it comes to domestic violence, anyone can be a target and anyone can be an abuser. Abuse can take lots of different forms. It can be verbal, physical, sexual, or psychological. Abuse often escalates and can be very dangerous. If you or someone you know is in an abusive situation, help is available.
Stalking is a pattern of harassing, threatening, or intimidating behavior that makes someone fear for their safety or someone else's safety. Like domestic violence, stalking can take a lot of different forms. It could be unwanted contact through phone calls, email, texts, social media, or in person. It can also be showing up uninvited or leaving unwanted gifts. If you or someone you know is being stalked, help is available. There are resources that can provide accommodations and emotional support.
Harassment in any form is not tolerated at Penn State. Gender-based harassment is unwelcome conduct that creates an intimidating, hostile, or abusive environment based on someone's gender identity or sexual orientation. If you or someone you know experiences harassment, there are ways to report it and receive support.
These aren't easy situations to think about, but awareness is critical to changing outcomes and eventually changing the culture altogether.
Hopefully someday we'll live in a world where these kinds of things don't happen, but until then, it's on us to look out for one another.
If we see something wrong, it's on us to call it out.
It's on us to foster a community where everyone feels safe.
It's on us.
It's on us.